bedwet, and she's 29 years old. UHR, is she cursed? The ladies of the Ogogoro group whispered in shock when they found out that the most fashionable woman among them still bedwets at 29. Ina did not want to join the trip at first. She knew that her bedwetting problem might expose her, but she also did not want to miss the chance to show off the new luxury bags she had just bought. She wanted the ladies to know that she was still the one with the richest husband and the best fashion sense. Sadly, the trip ended in total embarrassment. Her husband was furious. This was exactly what he had always feared. Once again, he regretted not living with her before marriage. Chukwu Maker felt deceived and betrayed by his wife and her family. When he married Ina, nobody told him that she was a chronic bedwetter. You can imagine his shock when his wife bedwetted on their wedding night. As the Ogogoro ladies laughed and mocked Ina, she walked away in shame and left them behind. Ina was a very beautiful woman. Her face was perfect, her body was fine, and she was kind, respectful, and friendly. Every man in the village wanted to marry her because of her beauty and good character. But what nobody knew was that ever since Ina started giving birth, up till the age of 28, she had always bedwetted. When her younger siblings stopped bedwetting at ages 9 and 10, Ina did not stop. She bedwetted every single night. Even during daytime naps, it still happened. She had no control over it. It was not her fault. On many occasions, Ina tried everything she could to stop it, but nothing worked. Sometimes she refused to drink water or eat food because she was scared of wetting the bed at night. Still, it did not stop. Eventually, she accepted her fate. Nobody in the village knew her secret, not even the men who chased her everywhere. It was a family secret. But people became suspicious when her younger siblings got married, and beautiful Ina was still single, despite having many suitors. Any man who came to ask for Ina's hand in marriage would be told the truth by her parents. They would explain that Ina still bedwets, and that it is not her fault. Once the men heard this, they would run away immediately, no matter how much they claimed to love her. This broke Ina's heart every single time. She slowly stopped believing in love. Ina started ignoring men because she already knew how the story would end. Once they found out her secret, they would leave. She did not want to go through that pain again. Then one day, a man named Kola Kunnel came into the village. Kola was a traveler. He was confident, loud, and always smiling. When he saw Ina, he liked her immediately. He started visiting her often and telling her sweet words. Ina tried not to fall in love, but Kola was very convincing. After some time, Kola went to meet Ina's parents. He told them clearly that he wanted to marry their daughter. As usual, her parents decided to tell him the truth. They explained that Ina still bedwets and that it is not her fault. Kola laughed. Bedwetting? At this age, you must be joking, he said. But her parents were serious. When Kola asked Ina if it was true, she could not deny it. Instead of understanding her, Kola mocked her. How can a grown woman still be bedwetting? He said. What will happen when you give birth to children? He stood up and walked away from her life. But Kola did not stop there. He went to the palm wine spot and told the men in the village about Ina's secret. He told them that Ina still bedwets, and that this was the reason she was not married. From that day, everything changed. The men started laughing at Ina whenever they saw her. Some mocked her openly, others whispered behind her back. Ina became a joke in the village. She grew angry and bitter. She blamed her ancestors for her condition. She asked herself why life was so unfair to her. Then one day, another man came into the village. His name was Chukwu Maker. Chukwu Maker came to the village to deliver goods to his customers. That was how he met Ina. He noticed her beauty and her calm nature. Unlike other men, he treated her with respect. He started visiting her and later told her that he wanted to marry her. Ina did not say much. She simply told him to speak to her parents. This time, her parents made a terrible decision. Because they were tired of seeing their daughter suffer, they hid the truth from Chukwu Maker. They did not tell him about the bedwetting problem, fearing that he would also leave. Chukwu Maker married Ina and took her to his village. He loved her deeply. Even when people warned him and spoke badly about her, he ignored them. He believed his wife was perfect. But on their wedding night, something happened that would change everything. On their wedding night, Ina tried everything she could not to wet the bed. She waited for her husband to fall asleep and then stayed in the toilet for a long time. She urinated again and again until she felt there was nothing left inside her. Finally, she went to bed beside her husband. But in the morning, Chukwu Maker woke up and noticed a strange smell. He touched the bed and felt that it was wet. He traced the wet spot and realized it was coming from Ina's side of the bed. He was shocked. "Ina, my wife, did you wet the bed?" he asked gently. "Were you stressed last night?" Ina was ashamed. She could not speak. Maker told her to go and clean up. He changed the bedsheet and tried to understand her. Ina felt relieved. She thought maybe it would never happen again. But the next night, it happened again. And the next. After many nights, Maker became angry. "How long will this continue?" he shouted one morning. "Why didn't you tell me the truth before we got married?" Ina apologized and lied again. She said she thought it had stopped. Maker felt betrayed. In anger, he took her back to her parents' house. He asked them why they hid such an important issue from him. They could only beg and apologize. They promised they were working on it traditionally. Because Maker still loved Ina, he took her back home. But the marriage had already started breaking. Instead of focusing on her marriage and finding a solution, Ina began spending more time outside. She made friends with married women in her husband's town. They introduced her to a group called the Ogogoro Ladies Club. The club was made up of married women who met to drink, gossip, and compete with one another. They dressed well and showed off their clothes, bags, wigs, and jewelry. Each woman tried to prove that her husband was richer than the others. Ina wanted to be respected in the group. She started using her husband's money to buy expensive clothes, luxury bags, wigs, shoes, and jewelry. She attended every meeting looking better than everyone else. The women admired her. They praised her. Some even feared her because her husband was one of the richest men in town. Soon, Ina became very popular in the group. But there was one woman who did not like her. Her name was Vivian. Vivian was not rich, but she loved her husband and was content with her life. She did not compete with anyone. Because of this, the other women did not respect her much. Vivian saw through Ina's fake life and did not admire her at all. Ina did not like that. She mocked Vivian often and looked down on her. The other women always supported Ina, even when she was wrong. Ina's life looked perfect outside, but inside her house, her marriage was falling apart. One day, the Ogogoro Ladies Club announced that it was time to celebrate their 5th-year anniversary. As usual, they planned a trip to a beach house where they would go with their husbands and have fun. Ina was excited, but she was also worried. Her husband had already stopped sleeping in the same room with her because of the bedwetting. She did not know how to convince him to go on the trip with her. After begging him many times, he finally agreed. At the beach house, everyone was having fun. But instead of focusing on her husband and fixing her marriage, Ina kept mocking Vivian and her husband. She reminded Vivian that she was poor and did not belong among rich people. Vivian was angry, but she stayed calm. In her heart, she promised to teach Ina a lesson. That night, Vivian started watching Ina closely, hoping to find something to embarrass her. At first, she found nothing and decided to give up. Early the next morning, Vivian went to get water to bathe. As she passed by Ina's room, she heard shouting. "Ina, you have started again." Chukwu Maker yelled, "You bedwetted again. The whole room is smelling." Ina tried to calm him down, but he kept shouting, "Are you not tired of bedwetting at your age?" He said. Vivian froze. She had heard everything. She quickly called the other women and told them what she had heard. They followed her to Ina's room. When Maker opened the door because of the smell, the women were standing there. They were shocked. Some laughed. Some whispered. Some mocked her openly. "Is she cursed?" they asked. Ina was deeply ashamed. Her husband was embarrassed. Vivian laughed, feeling satisfied. After the trip, Maker left Ina behind and went home alone. When Ina returned home later, her husband served her divorce papers. She cried and begged him to forgive her, but he refused. Ina returned to her parents' house in shame. Later, her parents took her to a church where prayers were made for her. After the prayers, the bedwetting stopped. The pastor said it was a spiritual problem from her mother's family. But by then, it was too late. Her marriage was already destroyed. The end. So tell me, besties, should Chukwu Maker take Ina back or not?